My name is Deepali Upadhyay. I'm the Program Director at Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog, leading the Atal Tinkering Labs program. Today on this very special occasion where we are celebrating International Women's Day 2023, along with the team AIM, where we have women power with us in this session today, I'm very happy and pleased to say that AIM itself places a lot of importance on this as a very foundational aspect for the growth of the nation. And I truly believe that women and their participation and inclusion not just is the right thing to do, but it's actually important for the global growth, for economic growth, for socio-economic development of any organization, of any country, and of the world at large. Today on this Women's Day, where the theme is embracing equity. Now, a lot of us are very used to equality as a word, and we keep saying equality, equality. Why is equity different from that? And why are we talking about equity now? Some of you may already know, but for the benefit of everyone, I just want to emphasize once again how equity and equality are slightly different, while they essentially mean the same, and mostly it's interchangeably used. But very simply put, equity actually embraces the differences or the different contexts that people come from and adjusts what is needed to bring them to a stage where they're able to give a common or a similar output. That's the whole idea. Your input does not have to be equal. Now with equality, typically the sense is that what you're really providing has to be equal, but no. What you're providing has to be fair, and it has to be adjusted according to circumstances. And I saw a really nice picture which described it so well, and while of course the picture can describe it the best, I'll make an attempt at what that difference really is when we talk about equality and equity. I'm just taking two examples of my phone and my diary. What really reality is like. I saw the picture which had reality, equality, equity, and liberation. Okay, what reality looks like is there's a difference between the two in dimensions and various other ways. There are two different things. Now, reality is you don't really care for the difference, and at your own pace, with your own circumstances, you go ahead. So, this could be much ahead of this, let's say A and B. What equality means is you give them both equal opportunities, and hence you still bring them up, but then there's still a difference that exists between the two. What equity means is that you give this one a slight push if need be, but a bigger push here because you want them to be at the same level. Now that's equity. And what liberation is, that neither need anything, and we're in a world where it's automatically happening, this will automatically come here. So I love that picture, and I wish I could have shown that picture, but essentially that's where we want to be with this Women's Day, celebrating, embracing equity, celebrating women who've done great in their field, celebrating the achievements of women across the world, celebrating the achievements of women in AIM, in Niti Aayog, and also talking about some of the challenges that really must be discussed, and together we have to think about a solution. The theme for today's session is somewhere merging in with what AIM truly believes in, how technology, innovation, entrepreneurship can play a huge role in women's equity, in creating a more equitable and inclusive environment, in creating a more equitable and inclusive India and world. With that, let me also introduce all my colleagues here who are the women power of AIM. I have along with me Tanvi Mishra, who is a young professional in the Atal Tinkering Labs program in Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog. I have Garima Ujenia with me, who's also a young professional with the Atal Incubation Center program in Atal Innovation Mission. I have Nava Sarur, who was previously a part of the Atal Tinkering Labs program in Atal Innovation Mission, but is now also working in the Science and Technology vertical in Niti Aayog. And I have with me Riddhi, who is a part of the Atal Community Innovation Centers program. She is an innovation lead in that program. And together all of us will bring to you different perspectives of not just our personal experiences, but also of the various programs and initiatives that we've been involved in, and how we feel innovation and entrepreneurship can play a huge role in boosting equity for women. Let me start off with our first discussion point, and I know that AIM has been doing a lot in terms of creating that equity for women through its various initiatives. But let's start with the first one, which is right at the schooling or at a young age. When we talk about making that change, I think it starts from childhood, and a very important aspect where cultural change needs to happen, which we typically see, a lot of these biases do exist. And I would say, and I'll be honest in saying that I think a lot of those biases exist in us as well as women. We automatically accept those biases, we actually go along with it, and sometimes when they're not there, we actually, in our minds, believe that they're there. So I think that first change or switch should happen at that right age, at the schooling age. And for that, there are some initiatives I know which are being done as part of the Atal Tinkering Labs program. And I have Naba and Tali here with me. I want to hear it from the two of you. What you think, have been instrumental as part of our initiatives, which have helped us drive inclusivity, equity for women and for girl innovators, and how technology and innovation has played a role and how we've seen it to play a role. Also touch upon the Mentor India program, on how we've been doing that in that program as well. So,
just like Deepali was saying, so we know that there are around 40% of the entire country has youth in it. But even though India is producing the maximum number of women graduates, we are just 30% of women in science and women in science basically. So with Atal Innovation Mission, we decided to actually leverage upon that, and it was at that time that Atal Innovation Mission actually started establishing Atal Tinkering Labs to catch them young. So essentially at Atal Tinkering Labs, we have been trying to make certain conscious attempts to have women in the realm of science and innovation. For instance, when Atal Tinkering Labs were being established, there was a conscious attempt to establish a lot of schools and ATLs which are girls' schools. So right now we have 700 plus ATLs in girls' schools. So that was one conscious attempt which was made at that time. Over years, we've seen, now it's been close to 5 years that Atal Tinkering Labs is there on ground. So we've seen that there has been a shift from, initially we used to receive innovations which were 30% girls and say 70% by boys, but now it is a equal 50% of innovations which we have received from our marathons and various competitions which are happening.
Let's hear about what are the outcomes coming out of these various initiatives. We're of course putting in some efforts there, and rightly so. But let's hear about some of those success stories. You mentioned one, Jalma, about our entrepreneur from one of our startups in the AIC network. Do you want to talk about another story of such success?
So, one of our startup, I name her Arpita. She's from she's leading the startup named as Apple Earth. It's about circular economy. And I still remember a conversation when she was nominated for Viva Tech, and I had asked her that you've been nominated, will you be able to go? So she was like, Delma, I don't have any international connect yet, I don't have any international trajectory right now. Should I be really going to France, and is it really required for me to go? I'm like, this is once in a lifetime opportunity that you're going to go, and it's your startup who is going to shine. And she was like, Delma, you're saying, I will go. She went, Deepali was there, and after that the response that she's been getting of her startup, and she has recently given water vans in the first class area, and then she's just leading Delhi area. So the little push that you give to a startup And especially women, I would say she was a little skeptical to go or not, but just that little push that if you can give it to any star, like women for to give them that much of push, just the confidence you share it with them, they just really fly off. So
Right.
that's one really beautiful story that I always remember. That's one from my side.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, no, I do see that, small initiatives, small efforts here and there. And there is no bias here, but I think women capitalize on these more. So when you give them that platform or opportunity, and I would say that about every underserved individual, when you give them that opportunity, they really maximize it. And that's where, it is totally worth it to put in that effort for creating value. Tanvi, do you want to talk about our girl innovators and anything that you want to share in celebrating this success when it comes to innovation per se?
Yes, so just like Garima was saying, that a little push can actually, take them fly. So I just came across one such girl innovators. We've been there for quite some time and we've come across a lot of success stories. But this one story really moved me. So as youngsters, all of us have come across a lot of social issues or a lot of problems also which we face. But never have we really thought that, okay, will I be able to solve this or will I be able to provide a solution to this? But with the Atal Tinkering Labs, providing them an opportunity to innovate and think. This one student, she is from a school in Gurgaon and her name is Deepali. She actually built products on an e-commerce platform wherein she is trying to address the issues of menstruating women. Her e-commerce platform is supporting various products for menstruating women and for pregnant women. So when I was having a conversation with her, she told me that as a young child, I have seen a lot of these issues near my area, even in my school. So that gave me an idea, and the ATL gave me a push to actually pursue it. So this is, I think, that is the power of actually providing some sort of access to women, to girls, and then giving them the world.
Wonderful, yeah, you're right. And Yuvati and many other girl students have seen a sea of change when you provide them that little bit of skilling, platform, opportunities, and what they make out of it. Today, so many of them are, proceeding forward in their innovations, taking their ideas ahead, on their way and ambition of being innovators, entrepreneurs, and truly it plays a very important role um, in their financial independence, like you mentioned earlier. You want to talk about another story from the community where this has really come out?
So what I feel that people who belong to underserved communities, they are already prudent in resource allocation, optimal utilization of the resources because of the scarcity of the resources. So if you give them the power of science or technology, they can do wonders. So there is one story from one of our ACICs in Andhra Pradesh. There is this lady, Vanka Lokesh, and she has a startup millet from it. So she belongs to the fishery community and she understood the problems that fishermen were having, like they had a low yield, they were not properly informed decisions to catch the shrimps and low productivity, low profit margins and operationally they were not very cost effective measure that they were taking. So she took the power of science and technology, she used sensors, mobile connectivity devices and so she made the automatic feeders for them and with that, we were able, the farmers, that for farmers, they were able to get more yield, they were able to manage their ponds more effectively. So overall, she contributed in increasing the profit margin of her community. So one lady, and she empowered her community. So that is really an inspiring story.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, and I always say that, and I truly believe in it, that when you empower one girl child, one woman, you actually empower the entire community with that. So it truly makes sense to make those initiatives and efforts towards making that change for the community, and hence the entire global growth. Now, you want to talk about? I know there was a recent achievement from some students from the Art and Tinkering Labs program and from some students beyond that as well. Want to talk about any girl students there?
Yes, so I'll talk about the celebration wala angle because at the same time when we provide them opportunities, we should also celebrate their success. So I'll take a very recent example. The February edition of the Niti lecture series was convened by the SNT Vertical. And in the lecture series, we had a panel discussion, and in the panel discussion, the panelists were honorable members Niti Aayog, there was honorable members CEO Niti Aayog, Secretary Department of Defense, Secretary Department of Defense Research. And in the panel, there was a young girl of class 9 standard, and she was one of the team members who developed and designed one of the satellites that was launched by ISRO in February. So, like sitting in the audience, I was feeling proud myself that such a young girl sitting among the likes of such huge and distinguished panel, like I was feeling proud, and I was like, yeah, this is the future that we want for the young girls of our country.
Wonderful. No, it's right, and I think that brings me to the point that you're all, we want to celebrate all of you for being such role models yourselves, and the kind of impact you have on women around you. You may be underscoring that, but I think on this day we can talk about that, the kind of impact that each one of you must be having in your families, in your communities, your women who are driving these initiatives for women. I think even more important, but individually, independently, even if you weren't doing anything for women, you were still doing it because you were doing something that was inspiring many other women. Let's hear from all of you. This year's theme that we said, creating equity. What does it mean to each one of you? I want to understand a bit more. I shared what it meant to me and why I felt that this is really time we looked at equity. But what does it mean to you and any personal journey, experiences, anecdotes are welcome. Share with everyone. I know this will inspire many women who are in their journey of innovation and entrepreneurship.
Why don't you start? Yeah. So, I did my graduation in life sciences and then MBA. So, in 2010, I got placed with Quest Diagnostics and I was leading cervical cancer project. So, I was very happy with my corporate job and all. But then my grandfather came and he just asked me one question that how many lives are you going to impact with this? And I think you can do wonders if you take entrepreneurial journey. So in 2012, I started my 2013. I started my export unit of garment manufacturing, wherein all the staff members that I hired were women. That was the community women that I asked them to have, to join the team. And after it became self-sustainable, profitable, and it was a good journey. And but in 2019, I felt like in just before COVID started, like I feel that I had a very blessed start and it was very comfortable for me to take up this journey. But in real life, there are women who want to have this life, but there are so many challenges they face. So, with that thought in mind, keeping my business unit parallel to it, I started leading incubation centers with state governments. I did pilot projects with government of Haryana, Punjab, and Delhi. And the modules I designed for the student entrepreneurs, they were being able to scale it up to 92,000 businesses. And that gave me confidence, like, yes, this is giving me some kind of a quantified result that I can work upon. And with this, I then started this community innovation center with Niti Aayog, and I hope I keep on contributing to that, bridging that gap.
No, you're such a great example, Priti, of being yourself a woman entrepreneur, working towards initiatives where you are making women financially independent and providing opportunities to them as well. And also now driving one such national initiative where women continue to be our focus. Thank you for sharing that, and we celebrate you today for your achievement. Now, why don't you share? You've had a great journey of Tinkering Labs program, a very special initiative by Niti Aayog towards schools in terms of setting up these makerspaces in schools, and of course, girls being our primary focus there as well. And now in the science and technology vertical, and I know you had a background of Ministry of Education and various other, initiatives. But talk about anything that you feel connects you to this theme this year.
So I think as women, we have the most powerful instrument with us, which is the human brain. We all have it, we all possess it, and we can, achieve great heights, we can achieve great success with the right interplay of the mindset, as well as, if we lose that fear, we just have to be fearless, and we just have to achieve and go towards our goal. Uh, Coming from a computer science background, working in the science and technology vertical, I myself find in situations sometimes that in a room full of professionals and the only female. But that does not stop us or all of us actually to speak our mind. So I think being fearless and being ambitious towards your goal is something that we should all work towards.
I think that was a very good point you made. I have, my work experience has not been that big, but the last company that I was working, I was the only girl in my team. I was working for the analytics department, and currently also in my AIC, I'm the only girl, and it's been last 2.5 years, like I'm the only currently girl who is there. So that particular point, even if you are the only girl, that you should make your point prove that it's fine, that you are there, but there's no lesser you are than anybody ever. So that equity actually, that is also comes from the people who are around you. That if they are giving you that much of comfort and opportunity, and I will say Nidhi has been very great.
We are not asking anything more, but we are not ready to accept anything less. We want equal opportunities.
Kudos. That's good. That's good. That's good.
So I think on similar lines, embracing equity for me is to have a freedom of choice. So for that matter, I would say a choice to be any professional, like a professional choice. Why would I think twice that, okay, I don't want to be a taxi driver because I'm a female. But that is something I want to do, so I will do it. So I think for me, equity or embracing equity is the freedom to choose whatever I want to do. So I am a rural manager and I have been in the field for a very long time. So whenever I used to be on the field, I have heard from my counterparts who were mostly males that how are you going to survive in such a situation? It's scorching heat, you won't be able to do it. How are you going to survive on the field? So we know that there are not enough facilities which are available for females when they are on the field. But I just told them that it's okay. I have chosen this career for myself, and I am going to make like the best out of it. So that's what I want to say. That we should never budge, and we should never give up on any dream or anything because that's how we are going to embrace equity, and that's what we are here to do.
Wonderful. I feel so inspired just sitting with all of you, hearing your stories. Um, I personally feel that equity starts with removing your own biases first and foremost. And I think that's the first role or responsibility we have as women. We're indeed fortunate for whatever we've received, be it education, be it an opportunity to represent ourselves at the right place at the right time. But even to those who don't have those opportunities and us trying to drive that for others who don't have those opportunities, I feel that the first step, like all my colleagues here said, is to get that fear and bias out. So let's do that together. Let's commit to that today. That we will consciously remove the unconscious bias that exists within all of us. And I also want to mention and thank all the male colleagues we have at NITI, at AIM, who make us feel empowered, who make us feel valued, respected, and who appreciate the difference and the value we bring, who make us feel that our opinion matters. Garima mentioned she's the only female team member, but she doesn't feel that. And I think that's what equity is. It's not numbers. It is mostly how much we value each other's opinion differences. And I will say that as AIM, as NITI Aayog, we will continue our drive, our focus towards that. There have been several initiatives in the past, but there will be many more. I can confidently say that. And I can confidently say that we will be soon heading towards, I know
the Bill and Melinda Gates report says that it will take another 90 years for an equal and equitable world where women and men have similar opportunities and outcomes coming out of it. But I feel with this level of drive, consciousness, if all of us are taking that ahead, I think we can get there faster and sooner. And we'll continue making those efforts so that one day we're celebrating International Men's Day and not Women's Day. We should reach that stage. I want to call out and thank our colleague Sumaya Yusuf, who's been in the background, who's our communications innovation lead. And this is an all-women's team behind the camera and in front of the camera who's come together to discuss, talk about, the various success stories, the challenges, and what we feel equity really is on this International Women's Day. I thank all of you for joining us for this session. We had fun interacting with each other, and I hope that all of you imbibe a bit of what we said. All of you think about this in your own spheres and make a difference towards the women in your life, towards the girls in your life. And I'm sure we'll be a very successful nation and world together. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.